Welcome to the supporting video of the tools for collecting environmental, climate, and surrounding data. The following presentation includes the methodology and a short tutorial about one of the tools developed within BIM-SPEED project for collecting environmental, climate, and surrounding data. Environmental, surrounding, and weather data are external data which is not directly obtainable from the building. Nevertheless, it is important to identify the surrounding built and natural environment as well as historical weather data for different use cases within building renovation. The tool in this tutorial helps to get access to these datasets. For accessing the datasets of surrounding and environment, two services have been developed within the BIM-SPEED project. One is Mereen Weather Service, which helps to collect historical actual weather data, and the other is the GIS Data Provider Service for collecting surrounding built and natural environment. Mereen Weather Service is fully functional and integrated into the BIM-SPEED platform and is accessible to use for different locations of interest. GIS Data Provider Service is also developed and integrated into the BIM-SPEED platform, but its repository currently only provides data for Berlin City, meaning that it is not possible to use it for all locations of interest. Because of this, to make sure that the tool works properly for any demonstration site, this presentation includes the methodology and a short tutorial of the Mereen Weather Service. The main use case of using Mereen Weather Service within building renovation workflow is building energy modeling or BIM. One of the crucial inputs required for energy modeling of buildings is weather data, which represent the exterior environmental situation of the building. Many studies show the effect of the accuracy of the weather data and the accuracy of the energy simulation of buildings. So it is essential to consider how the weather data is acquired. Who can use this tool? This service allows providing weather data that are ready to be used for energy simulation. The target group are the energy engineering team working on a renovation project that can use this ready-to-use weather file, for example, to either calibrate BIM models using real weather data and compare them to real consumption data, or simulate renovation works impact with real weather data and evaluate their performance for the most extreme weather years, for instance. The main topics which we'll be discussing the following are: firstly, description of different types of weather data. Secondly, some specifications of the Mereen Weather Service will be discussed, including data accessibility, data availability, data format, and data quality. And lastly, a workflow of how to use this service from the BIM-SPEED platform will be shown, and a demonstration of retrieving weather data for a specific building will be presented. For energy simulation of buildings, it is important not to use a single year. Historical long-term weather data represent the weather pattern more realistically. Three weather data types are utilized for different purposes in building renovation. The first one is typical weather data, which is a synthetic weather data format. Different formats of this type are available, such as TMY, standing for typical meteorological year, and WYEC, standing for weather year for energy calculation, and their updated versions, which include solar information. The second weather data format is actual weather data. As the name implies, it is the real weather dataset in long term. And the last one is weather forecast data, which is provided by weather simulation approaches considering the climate change effect. Typical weather data is usually used in energy design and performance assessment of the buildings. Actual weather data is usually used for calculating the energy consumption of the building and calibrating the BIM with the historical consumption data such as energy bills. This is usually used in retrofit-dominated market, as accurate weather data is essential in the calibration process. The forecasting data, as the name implies, can be used for predicting energy consumption of buildings. For that, either forecast weather data, long-term typical or actual weather data can be used. Saying all this, Mereen Weather Service provides long-term, recent, actual weather data. Mereen Weather Service provides ready-to-use weather data for simulation. It is a fully operational web service that can read a BIM object and automatically select the optimum weather station for it. Meanwhile, there is a connection to the BIM-SPEED platform. but it is also possible to retrieve data from Mereen service via a fully functional map. One of the issues in BIM simulations is the weather data format. Different simulation softwares use different formats. For instance, Energy Plus, which is one of the most popular softwares, used EPW file format. Data quality is also a critical aspect with regard to weather data in energy simulation. Mereen service implements a diagnosis of the quality of stations to be able to select the best nearest station. And the last feature is the data availability. Mereen Weather Service provides data across Europe for more than 15 years and more than 5,000 weather stations. Different sources of data are combined to provide these datasets, which includes measured data from World Meteorological Organization, weather stations, and solar radiation from Copernicus and the NASA radiation services. From BIM-SPEED platform, the workflow to select the best weather station for collecting data is as shown in the figure. The first step is to select the location of the demonstration site. This can be done by accessing the service from the BIM object, meaning the IFC file. This is possible if the IFC file includes the correct GPS location of the demonstration site. If this is not the case, the service guides the user to the Mereen Map API to select the location on a map. Even if a station is introduced to the user, it is possible to open the map in this step to select other stations of interest. Next step is selection of data format, as the service provides weather data in raw format, EPW file format, and even more. Also, the user can select the time interval for which the data is required. Last step is downloading the data in the BIM-SPEED platform. The weather data will be downloaded in the same folder as the original IFC file. In the folder of the demonstration site, I should have the BIM object of the demonstration site in IFC format. From the menu beside the IFC file, for example here for me this is the IFC file that I want to extract the weather data for. So here I select the menu and from there I click on Access to Services. This will show me a list of available built-in services in BIM-SPEED platform. As you see, one of the services is Mereen Weather Service, the other is JS Data Provider Service. I select Go to the service to go to the Mereen Weather Service. What happens here is that the Mereen Weather Service extracts the GPS location of the building from the IFC file and directly opens a pop-up including information about the nearest weather station to the site. So this page includes some information about the weather station, the name of the station, the sources from which the data is available from, the starting and ending of the data availability, and the percentage of data availability from each of these sources. It is also possible for the user to select the time period for which the data is required. So it's possible to select all available or all valid years. It's also possible to choose from a calendar year. For example, for this weather station, the data is available from 2005 to 2020. But also it's possible to choose an interval by selecting a starting and ending date. So I just select this one and I look for the data for a 10-year period data starting from 2010 and ending 2020. In the next step, it's also possible to select the data format. So it's possible to select EPW file format, which is ready to use for Energy Plus software. There are also some other options to select which are not mandatory. At the end, I should select Export your data to Croquis to download the data. By clicking on that, it starts to calculate the data, post-process the data, and download it in the same folder in the BIM-SPEED platform. When it is finished, you receive a message which says that the processing is finished. If you close this pop-up, and you go back to the folder that you have the IFC file, you see that one weather data in zip file format is downloaded within the BIM-SPEED platform. If you click on that, it starts downloading. After the downloading in your local machine is finished, you can just open this zipped file, and you can see it includes the data from 2010 to 2020, each of them separately in one EPW file format. Start from the IFC file again to access to the Mereen Weather Service. From the pop-up, there is a button called Back to the Home page on the top left. If you click on that, you will be directed to the web page, which includes information about the Mereen Weather Service. From there, it is possible to get your data either from API, from a form, or from the map. By clicking on Go in the map section, you can find the desired station on a map. This map includes all the available weather stations around the world. If we just go to the Berlin demonstration site we just downloaded the data for, the demonstration site is located somewhere here, and the stations which the data for is returned to the user is here. It's the Tempelhof, Berlin Tempelhof station. It's possible to see also the availability of the data in this pop-up, and click on this link to go back to the page which includes the information for downloading the data. As you can see here, there is also another station close to Berlin Tempelhof, but as you see, it's not valid. This map can help if you want to download another dataset which you think fits better to your demonstration site. For instance, if you think that you can download the data from another station which is located here, if you click on this valid station, Berlin-Dahlem, it's possible to click on this link to go directly to the information of this weather station. You can see the source, the validity of the data, and then it's possible also to select the period and the data format to download the data. And you can see the difference between this dataset and the datasets coming from the previous weather station. From the Mereen web page, you can select Learn More to get more information about the data sources and variable descriptions. Also, it includes information about different data formats which are provided within the service. Thank you very much for listening to this training video. You can get more information about this and other tools in the BIM-SPEED website.